What was the future? Let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. Six. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Cinco de Mayo. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Monday morning, the 5th of May. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or the Android app, good to have you along this morning. If you're watching on YouTube, give this channel a subscription, give the video a like, leave your comments in the comment section. You can also follow along on X, Facebook, and Instagram. What a morning already. What a morning we've had at the Rush Radio Show. Because not only are we the co-host of the show, we are audio engineers, video engineers, problem solvers.
I'm not only a member of the Hair Club for Men, I'm the president.
That's right. And I've been a member of the Hair Club for Men before. It wasn't quite the Hair Club for Men. I went to a different one when I wore a wig. Hair Club was, you were paying for the national brand. So I'm like, oh my God, you're really expensive. I mean,
what was Hair Club for Men toupees, or was it like a hair replacement therapy thing?
It's not called a toupee, Ross. Be sensitive to those who are follically challenged. It is a hair system. Okay. It is a hair system.
Yeah. I forgot in this era of oppressor class, everybody has to find a way to marginalize themselves. And I apologize that I used such offensive language early on a Monday morning. Hope I can get hope your week gets better.
You know, a toupee gives this idea of, you know, this really bad hairline and fluffy wig. A hair system tapes to your head and is there for a good 3 weeks before you have it removed and you know, colored and you cut your hair around you and you just feel better.
Not like one of those slapdick toupees. This is the real deal.
Yeah. A slapdick toupee is something, you know, you like clip on, you take off every night.
It's the merkin for heads is what the toupee is.
That's exactly what it is. The merkin for heads, you know, in Hair Club. You know, Bosley is like the hair implant. So, you know, Bosley, they go in and take hair. They take your pubes. They take your
take your pubes. Do
I think they do take your pubes?
No, they don't put the short and curlies on my head, dude.
I think they put the pubes on your head.
They do. I don't think they do. I don't know where. I thought they took the hair from, like, you know, those extra hairs that grow on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
I thought that they took those little scragglers back there. Like, hey, fellas, you're getting the call up to the big leagues. I thought that's how that went down.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Bill Self if I ever get him on, because Bill Self has had the plugs. Bill
really?
Self. Oh yeah. Well, oh yeah. What I mean, there's no doubt about it that Bill Self has had hair implants, and more power to him. But the problem with the hair implants, over, you know, why I chose a hair system over the hair plugs, is the hair plugs you have to do a number of times. You know, one surgery is just not going to cut it.
Yeah.
And it's a repetitive thing. You have to have like 10 implants.
I know you better than this. It was the cost.
It absolutely 100%. 100%.
I love that you've got the sales pitch down. Let me tell you why I chose the Bosley hair system. Now,
I choose SBT Hair Systems, which is no longer active where I live because they retired. But it was just a nice little.
Did the TV station bring in like a consultant with you to be like, "Hey, Travis, we think it's time to go the route of the toupee, and then if we do this right, this is how we transition out of it." Was there something like that, or
no? This was on my own. Now I negotiated to where the TV station paid for it.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the TV station paid for my clothes and they paid for my hair. And I'm
He
like, well,
he went in, he said, hey, you guys want this or not?
now I paid for my teeth. So my front teeth are porcelain veneers. I paid for those on my own. But when it came to the hair system, I'm like, hey guys, I want to look the best for you on television.
Yeah, this is about you, not me.
Yeah. And so I was convinced at age 32, 33 that I needed a hair system. And that lasted until 2009 when they finally said, hey, this hair system costs like $8,000 a year. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. Hair systems are very, very expensive. And I chose the hair system over the Bosley hair plugs. And so they finally said, we're not going to pay for your hair anymore. And I said, well, I'm going to go bald then. I'm going to be a bald dude. So I chose to go bald in 2009.
I didn't know it was that expensive.
Oh, it's very expensive.
Holy cow.
And
wow.
I don't know if people are still wearing hair systems or not. I don't know if they're as big as they used to be. They work really well. I have no problem.
I didn't know. Dude, I can look at pictures of you and I'm like, oh, this is Travis before the toupee. And you're like, no, I'm wearing it's not a toupee. And I'm wearing the hair system there.
Yeah, I'm wearing a hair system. I think I don't know for sure, but like Elias Johnson over at Channel 13, I think might have had a hair system, which he had a really good one.
I can't believe how good you are at spotting them, dude. I would never know that. Never.
Well, it's kind of like a club, right?
It's takes one to know one type of deal.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like, oh, welcome to the club, brother. Welcome to the club. Good to have you here.
All right.
I got kicked out of the club. I got totally kicked out of the club because I chose to go bald, because bald is beautiful. That's the way I look at it. Bald is beautiful.
It is. I think so.
So Ross had some technical difficulties on his end, and I didn't notice until like a minute before we actually went live. We weren't live on Twitter. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Oh, I didn't.
But we were live on Facebook. We were live on the audio stream. We were live on YouTube. And then I'm like, oh, we're not on X. And so I started doing a little work over here and got us live with a minute to go.
Good job, Trav. Good job, man.
So all of you on Twitter missed the 5-minute countdown. You got a minute of the countdown.
Oh, you got it on before the show actually started, though.
Yeah, I got it on.
You.
Yeah, yes. Everything falls into place. Because at one point we were like, are we doing a show today? I couldn't hear Ross.
Dude. And then this weekend, I realized this weekend, I almost called you but I knew you were at a funeral and it was going to be rude of me.
I was at a wedding.
Wedding.
And I got a wedding story.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking you're at a funeral all weekend. No. Damn it. I would have called you because I had a funny. I think I had a funny. I don't know. I had an epiphany of what kind of immature human I am. Like how sophomoric my brain is in a bad way. Really? Dude, I can't believe my brain did this. Somebody's going to hear this and get really upset. Like, think less of me, okay? But I'm going to share it because we're vulnerable. Vulnerable. We expose ourselves here.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't expose ourselves here. You know what I'm saying?
We bare our souls here.
You know, I've talked about those signs that go over the top of the interstate, right? The stupid ass signs that, like this weekend, I'm sure they said, "May the 4th be with you." And they've always got some stupid saying up there, or it's either some stupid. It's very rarely is it actual useful information, like lane closed ahead, exit closed, construction, weather delays, things like that. Very rarely, 2% of the time, it says something like that. Most of the time, it's just a running death count.
I see that a lot. Like
43 people dead this year. And this weekend, I'm driving, and I turn the corner, and I'm driving on the interstate. My eyes are diverted from the road to read the stupid sign, for safety. And I read the sign, deaths this year, 69.
I know where you're going here.
Fellas, skip. Go from 68 to 70. Go from 68 to 70. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to care.
Just kill somebody off before.
Just put 70. Just put 70. Just keep it at 68 until we get to 70. I turn the corner, I see that, and I go, nice. No, not nice. Not nice. There's 69 people dead. No. Shut off the sides.
There is something about the number 69 that every time you see it, you just chuckle. You just chuckle. And it's just one of those. It's kind of like when I'm watching in the morning when we hit like 666 viewers. I'm like, oh, come on, give me one more. I don't want 666. I want 667. Get off 666.
So I don't. Again, it's a me problem. I understand the DOT problem sign thing. It's a me issue. I have to look within and find out what's wrong.
Hey, we got to take this phone call because I know we're jumping out, but Brittany Harms is calling us, and Brittany was at the Caitlin Clark game. She won our ticket.
Yeah, Brittany was our winner.
Brittany was our winner, and she was at Carver Hawkeye yesterday.
Man, I was worried. I was worried that Caitlin wasn't going to be playing in that game. So yeah, Brittany, thanks for calling us.
Yes, I'm driving on my way to work right now.
So how much fun was it? How much fun was it?
Oh, it was thrilling. Like, Carver was packed. Everybody was, like you guys said, in either Carver Hawkeye, the Iowa Hawkeye or Fever, or, everybody was out there to support Caitlin especially. But also our teammates were getting, a lot of recognition. She played for the crowd. And then, as you guys saw, the 36-foot shot, I mean, it was electric. I've just never heard it that loud ever at Carver.
Now,
it was amazing.
How good were your tickets? Because when we looked at the seating chart, we're like, oh, those are pretty good tickets. Where were you located, and how close were you to the court?
Yes, 24th row up. I thought that was going to be great seats, but they were better than what I thought. I mean,
wow.
I could see right when Coach Bluter came out, I saw that towards the end, her parents were like 10 rows down from us, sort of almost 10, 15 rows. We were right behind the bench and able to have a beautiful view. I mean, like, it was sort of like what you have at Kinnick, like 50 yards, and they're right there for Carver.
Is she on the freeway maybe, and she's hitting those rumble strips?
Are you hitting rumble strips?
No.
Or are you
yes,
just?
I am.
Or are you just farting in your car?
I thought Travis was farting. He thought I was farting.
It's rumble strips. It's country driving.
Oh, you can't go wrong with country
I really
driving.
did think Travis farted there. I was like, oh, that was healthy. That's.
Were you tempted at all over the last week?
Stop that.
Were you tempted at all over the last week to sell the tickets? Because they said yesterday that according to Vivid Tickets, that the average price was going for $660 some. Were you ever tempted to sell, or were you like, nope, I'm holding on to these and I'm going?
No, never doubt my mind. Like I said, I've always wanted to go to a game to see her. We just never went when she was in college. So yeah, I was never gonna sell them.
That is awesome. We are so happy you had a good time. We're so happy you listened to the show, because you live in what, Parkersburg?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Near Parkersburg area.
All right. Well, Brittany, I'm glad you had a good time. It's one of those moments you'll probably never forget, and you got to see a 36-foot beyond Logo 3. So congratulations on that, and thanks for calling. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you guys very much. I enjoy listening to you. I know I didn't listen live normally just because I'm driving to work and it's not for time. But, yeah, enjoy it nonetheless, and keep going.
Thanks so much, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany. Appreciate it. That's awesome.
That's a perfect winner for that. That was awesome. Awesome.
We couldn't have drawn it up any better. She kind of looks like Caitlin Clark.
Dude, I would have thought it would have gone through my head to sell him. The minute I won him, it would have gone through my head like, wait, I can get $1,000?
Yeah.
I can make $1,000. Yeah, I'm going to make $1,000.
Just like that. But no, she held on to him.
And went and had a dude.
And what I like is when you say, I knew they were going to be good seats, but they were better than what I thought they were going to be. And that's what we like to do. We like to give away really good seats. And so if you go to therushladio.com right now and go to the promotions page, you can sign up to get sweet tickets. We're going to give you a sweet experience to Shane Gillis at Wells Fargo Arena. He's coming up at the end of May at Wells Fargo Arena, and you're going to sit in the suite for Shane Gillis. Now, I believe you're going to be sitting with Roscoe, and you're going to be sitting with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll laugh together.
We'll laugh together.
Just like every other morning. We'll sit here and laugh at each other.
We'll make politically incorrect jokes with each other.
Yeah.
So
try to figure out what animal noises were outside of our window last night.
Oh, did Corey get back to you?
He hasn't yet.
I sent him the link. We're going to hopefully get Corey Nelson on from Bats and Bugs because Ross had some weird mating noise outside. I'm assuming they're mating noise.
I had a mating warbler outside of my window last night. How did it go? Do you remember? If you could imitate the noise right now, could you do it? Yeah, it sounds like it was like. There was two of them, and they were like getting closer to each other. I could hear one north of my house and one south of my house, and I heard them go. And they moved together, and then when they got together, it was like it was a party. It was like. Like, oh, I know what they're doing.
Because they're mating. Man.
I don't know what they were. They sounded like they were something on the ground because they were moving. You know what I mean? They weren't in the air flying around. They did kind of sound like owls a little bit, but it wasn't that classic, like, whoo, whoo, whoo. That wasn't. Maybe. I'm going to play the sound for you guys because I recorded it at 2:15 in the morning. I'm not kidding. I woke up. It woke me up. I recorded two of them. One at 2:15, one at 2:34. So that's how long I was awake listening to this thing happen. Even the dog.
That loud.
It couldn't get away from it. The dog sat in the window, looking out the window with me, like, what the hell's happening?
Did it wake the kids up at all?
I don't think so. I didn't hear them.
When I first heard it, I thought it was owls. But then I'm like, I don't know. And if you thought they were on the ground, owls wouldn't be on the ground.
That's what I'm saying. It sounded like they were walking towards each other. Anyway.
So I was at a wedding this weekend.
Yeah, you say you have a wedding story.
I do have a wedding story. I was at a wedding this weekend. It was in Ames. So we went to St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church in Ames. And then the reception was at the Iowa State Alumni Center. And so that's in between C.Y. Stevens and the football stadium. It's a nice facility, and they have the old sigh that is there. My wife found a sweatshirt, like a retro sweatshirt. She wanted it. She goes, "Where do I buy this?" And I wanted to say to everybody at the Alumni Center, "Hey, if you're going to post this gear, if you're going to put the gear on mannequins, you should probably sell the gear." Because she's like, I really want that. Yeah, I mean, my wife would have dropped $100 on a sweatshirt if it would have been available. But we went into the reception, so we had the cocktail hour where we were able to have a few drinks beforehand. Then you go into the reception area where you have dinner. So we had dinner, and then they go through the dance, right? So you've got the first dance. You've got how the mother dances with everything.
The mother dances with the groom.
With the groom,
father dances with the bride. Yeah.
So they do the first bride and groom dance, and it was kind of ended awkwardly because the music just shut off. It was just like boom, over, and the DJ didn't know how to react, and so it got really, really quiet in there. I mean, it's kind of that uncomfortableness, like, okay, what's going to happen now? And a couple minutes, Ross, went by, and I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying it's a couple minutes. And nobody's talking because they're waiting for the next song. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody farted.
Oh.
And I tell you what, if there was ever a perfect time for a fart, that was it. Because it broke, because it's that uneasiness, tension in the room. You're like, oh my God, do we talk? Do we not talk? These poor people are waiting to dance. They're waiting for their song to come on, and everybody's looking around going, who is that? Who is that? So then it's like spot who farted. But that was my wedding story. I'm like, man, that was like a fart in church.
Daddy got the big one.
Yeah, and it's just a reminder that farts are funny because everybody laughed. There might have been one who just did that, but for the most part, everybody was like, "Oh my god, that was perfect." If there was ever a time we needed a fart, that was
done.
It.
Well done, sir,
well done.
or ma'am. I don't mean to be sexist.
So yeah, that was my wedding story. I've never heard a fart so loud at a wedding ever.
I swear to God, I did think you farted when Brittany was on the phone with us there, and I heard that. I was like, "Oh, Trav, good bass there, my friend."
Yeah, rumble strips those rumble strips give you a good good imitation. But
that's awesome.
She was like, don't talk about it on the radio. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about this. I have to talk about it. But I said I promised I wouldn't give names.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's impressive. I like it.
Yeah.
You know me, dude. I'm a big fan of farts.
Yeah, so am I.
And then the church laughs is the other thing that's great. When you laugh when you don't think you're supposed to, and you're trying to hold it in, but your body won't let you. You're like,
and then you get all red because you're like holding your body.
And it would be so much better if you just went. But you're trying not to do that, so instead your body goes into that convulsive laughter.
You were at Baconfest this weekend.
I had a fun weekend, dude. I did a lot this weekend. Saturday was jam-packed. Saturday was Baconfest and then ended with the UFC. So farmers market Saturday morning. I didn't get a chance. I had the intention of getting down there, but then morning kind of got away from me, and I had to get out to Baconfest to get set up. Baconfest was awesome. Like every year, that's one of those things that you go in and you see Brooks's stress, right? We're buddies with him, and so as you get close to it, you see all the work that goes in behind the scenes, and you see it looks like from 10,000 feet, it looks like a lot of fun planning in the thing, right? But man, when you get to see it happening, Travis, there's a lot of mud in there, right? That he's working through. It's a little bit like a wedding or a graduation party. Like you watch your friend work really hard for this one event. He's really nervous about it paying off. And then all of a sudden 12:30 hits and there's thousands of people there. It's got this amazing feeling and sound and vibe. And I took the time to go over and say, hey, congratulations on this. This is amazing that we've been able to have fun in Des Moines like this for this many years and this cool event. People seem to love it. I mean, again, there are so many times I look at him and go, oh, I think that was the best one. But they had like the free arcade. They had the silent disco. People were walking around all day with their silent disco things on, and not everybody. So there was still a lot of people talking and milling around. The free arcade was fun. Yeah, it was a great time, man. I wonderful. Got to see a lot of people, meet a lot of listeners, talk to a lot of new listeners.
Got people signed up for Shane Gillis tickets because we were there for a reason, and not just to support our good buddy Brooks, but you were there to get people signed up to see Shane Gillis in the Tweet Experience.
I'll be honest, Trav, I thought Shane Gillis to me is like super famous and one of the most sought after comedians in America right now, maybe in the world. I love the guy. I was shocked how many people came up and would start talking to us about the show or didn't know that we had started this and we're just learning about it for the first time. And they'd be like, hey, we're giving away tickets to Shane Gillis. And they'd go, who's that?
Really?
I was shocked. I mean, again, not like the majority of people, but in my mind, I thought everybody knows who these guys are or who Shane Gillis is. And they didn't. But people that did were super excited about it, obviously. I mean, having that on our sign, you saw people like, they didn't know who we were, but they were like, oh, we can win tickets to Shane Gillis.
Who are you again?
Like, no, scan this code. The Yacht Rock was fantastic. It just was a fun day.
And then you went to we'll get into this a little bit more later on, but you went to UFC on Saturday night, and from the video you posted on your Facebook page, man, that place was packed.
Dude. I do want to talk about this later because I had some really good conversations with Connolly that night about how things were going, and because I'm again, that was one of those deals. I walked into the arena and looked around and went, whoa, this is different. I don't know if that's the most people they've ever had inside of Wells Fargo Arena for an event, but holy cow, was that place. And the fight, honestly, the fights were not great. Jeremy's fight, the first 2 rounds of his fight were the most exciting part of the night. There were some other highlights throughout the night, but for the most part, the fights were pretty boring. And even with that card not living up to what people thought it was going to be, and I simply mean the action inside of the ring. What a fun night. And everybody I talked to was like, this was a home run. Hope that the UFC felt that way. It looked great on TV. As 2 things happened that were as loud as I've heard that arena. When Jeremy Stephens when they first announced him out of the locker room, and then when he was in the ring and they do the big announcement, fighting out of the red corner, out of Des Moines, Iowa. And the place went crazy.
Did he win his match?
He did not. No. And he was a big underdog. I mean, Jeremy hadn't fought in the UFC in several years. He'd been fighting bare knuckle boxing. So who knows last time he was actually taken down in a fight. He's fighting a 30-year-old kid who's 8 years younger than him. In the UFC, that's about a 70% win percentage just on that alone when you're that much younger than your opponent. So, but he, went out on his shield, as they say. And I don't want to burn all of my powder here, but dude, what a cool way, like full circle moment for a lot of people in Des Moines, and me included, that watched that kid fight on local promotions here in Des Moines. I remember him battling with a kid named Chris Mickle. And I mean, some of the best fights I ever saw were Jeremy Stephens and Chris Mickle. They fought at the Bucks Arena they were the main fight at the Bucks Arena one time. So think about that career, man. 20 years ago, he's fighting at the Bucks Arena. He goes on to fight and have a long career in the UFC that gets to tie the bow, kicking off a UFC event in his hometown. It was really cool, man. Very happy for Jeremy. Everybody, I went to school with Jeremy's sister. I didn't go to school. He didn't go to East. Everybody I know that knows Jeremy loves that kid, and they all say that stuff about him. So very happy for him.
A homecoming weekend, of course, a homecoming for Caitlin Clark as the Indiana Fever visit the Carver Hawkeye Arena to take on the Brazilian national team. We'll talk about that homecoming when we come back on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm Corey Warren, and I'm an automotive technician here. I've worked here for right over 3 years. I was working for an independent shop. I'd say the environment, it's laid back and easy to get along with everybody. I've got a lot of old cars that me and my brothers and dad work on, so I do a lot of that stuff. There's actually stuff to do. I grew up in a small town, so there's not that far from being able to do stuff.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time homebuyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Spring cleaning continues. Come down to Land Rover Des Moines to get your front and rear differential fluid services done for $199.95 each. Preventative maintenance is important to ensure your vehicle runs smoothly down the road. To schedule, give us a call or head online at LandRoverDesMoines.com.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We're here till 8 o'clock today, as we are each and every Monday through Friday. Justin Miller is going to be jumping in with Ross on Wednesday morning and Friday morning. I got to be out of town. I'm going to be in Kearney, Nebraska on Wednesday morning, and then I'm going to be in Templeton, Iowa on Friday. So we're finally going to have my mom's funeral, so we're gonna get that done. Yeah, we had the All Brothers meeting yesterday. First time all four of us have been in the room maybe for 26 years. So that was an interesting day. But civil, everybody's getting along.
Good,
which is good.
Yeah.
So
should be. You're adults.
Yeah, but still act like children. We're adults, but we still act like children.
4 adults going through the same thing.
It is kind of weird though, because I'm the executor of the will, so it's like we're trying to have diplomatic conversations, and then overruled. I haven't done that yet, so I'm trying to. It's interesting because there's a lot of dynamics where people want to talk to you. You have those side conversations. There's lobbying going on. And I had to say yesterday at one point, I said, I understand what you're saying, but I am trying to be diplomatic and keep the peace. I said, we all just got to get along for like 4 or 5 months.
And then that's it.
And then that's it. That's all we have to do is get along for 4 or 5 months, and that's it. And then we can go on our merry ways. One thing I did watch yesterday, I didn't get to see the Kentucky Derby over the weekend because I was at a wedding, but I made sure to sit down and watch the Indiana Fever take on the Brazilian national team, a game that was over within the first 10 minutes or really 5 minutes of the game. It got out of hand pretty quickly. But Caitlin Clark's returned to Carver Hawkeye Arena. We heard from Brittany early on, who we sent to the game. I don't know if you could have drawn up a better script, Ross. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, from Caitlin hitting that first 3-pointer to her last 3-pointer, which is a 36-foot 3-point shot. I'm just like, are you kidding me? And just when I think she can't outdo herself, she does it. She just absolutely does it.
When has she? She almost always delivers, man. It's really incredible. Travis, the whole story goes back to Saturday when she's injured. And if you weren't panicked, and I wasn't going to the game, so it didn't matter much to me. But for Brittany, our listener, I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! Oh, you got to be kidding me! We finally got this girl the opportunity to go see Caitlin Clark, and now Caitlin's not going to be there." And again, don't get it wrong. This was not the Indiana Fever game. This was not the Brazil national team coming to score 35 points. No, everybody was there to see Caitlin Clark. And if she wouldn't have been able to go, dude, the event would have been a total dud. A total dud.
I mean, there would have been like a lot. She would have come out like in her sweatsuit, but it's not the same. It's just not the same.
We do a giant Easter egg hunt at my dad's house every year. This year it rained, and we had to have the Easter egg hunt inside his 2-car garage.
That sucks.
Come on. Did you have an Easter egg hunt? Yeah. Was Caitlin Clark there? No. Did Caitlin Clark play? Yes, she did. And did she deliver? Yeah, because she always does. Because this is what she does. Because this is what Caitlin Clark has done. It's just incredible.
The ironic part about it, we were talking about Caitlin Clark last week, leading up to the game, how just she got through most of her career with no injuries. She's never really had to fight through this. And then on Friday, you hear Caitlin Clark questionable for the Saturday game or against the Washington Mystics, and you're like, oh man, that means she's. And so they held her out of that one, and then, but you kind of had that. There's no way she was going to miss that game.
I didn't have that feeling. I really didn't. In my mind, I was like, oh, this is a disaster. I did not think there. I didn't think what happened would happen, and I really thought maybe if she's hurt, she's at most going to play a couple minutes. They'll have her go out there and wave and get her the ball and let her shoot a shot and then get her off the court. And that wasn't exactly what I mean. Then
she comes out and puts in 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. She was 4 of 6 behind the 3-point line, including that 36-footer. And they were showing the number 22 on the court where she broke the NCAA record, and I realized, we gave our shooters a very huge advantage because she was about another 4 feet back from where we had our people shoot at Grandview University. But here was Caitlin Clark after the game, just talking about coming home, playing at Carver Hawkeye, and how special it was.
I think it's hard to put into words like what exactly it means to me. It's almost overwhelming to a point. Like, I'm just very, very thankful to be able to come back to a place that continues to support me and see old friends that are having a great time getting to watch me do my thing, that don't play basketball anymore, that are just my friends, and spending time with them. Like, even though it was just dinner last night, like, it's just fun to come back here and like kind of feel like you're in college again in a way. But also it was a little weird, like going in the locker room, but I don't know, something about this gym like just makes me play well, and these shoes, like, it just, I don't know. So there's something about it, but I just a lot of gratitude and just thankful I can share it with my family too. A lot of them were here. My grandparents were here, and they don't get to come to many either. And these are the moments that like you never take for granted, and you kind of just want to stay in for forever. So I'm certain I will be looking back at a lot of pictures and videos from today.
She talked about the shoes, and it's funny how
what a great line. What a great line to sneak in there. It's got to be the shoes.
Well, because she talked about it later on in her news conference, and that is she brought 3 different pair of shoes. And she was undecided on what she was going to wear during the game. And this is what players think about. I mean, I think there is a little bit, and she ended up going with shoes she wore in college. They were a pair of Kobe's, and she's like, they're pretty hard to come by. You can probably find them on the secondary market for a lot of money. But at the end of the day, she's got the Nike deal. She's got these shoes, and she's like, I'm going to go with the ones I wore in college. So that pretty impressive.
Dude, she does not miss PR wise. Even that, every line of that, I can hear that as like, did a PR team write? I know they didn't. I know that's her off the cuff. Listen to how perfect that is. Family, home, sponsor,
friends. Friends.
Heart, you feel it. You feel it. That's the thing with her, man. Travis, we've talked about this a ton. This is an old adage in radio that we were taught. People will forget what you said. They will remember how you made them feel. I'm certainly that way. I can forget specifics, but man, I remember the way I felt about things, and I can recall those feelings in an instant. And there's something about Caitlin Clark that makes you feel like it's your little sister or your cousin or your neighbor. You at least for me, I watch her and I go, look at this. This is fun.
Do you think it plays a part that she grew up in Des Moines? You followed her in high school, and there's that connection there.
For me, there's no doubt about that, Trav. Now, that's why I didn't think this thing was going to launch the way it did. I thought, we love her because she's ours. We love Caitlin but dude, everybody feels that thing. It's an international thing with her. And that, I think, is why. It goes back to some of those things that you and I have talked about over the years. It's genuine. There's a little bit of vulnerability there. I mean, we don't know too much, but there's a little bit of vulnerability there when she says, man, I get to see my grandparents today. They don't ever get to come to games. That you feel that. I got to play in front of my friends today, and I don't get to do that very often. And I got to wear my old shoes. How's a 23-year-old getting nostalgic for us? She nails it.
Well, and when you say she doesn't miss, and that's all encompassing. She doesn't miss on the news conference, and she fully understands that she's there to entertain.
Yeah.
And if you're another WNBA player, and I know there's a little jealousy, and just because the notoriety that comes, it's human nature to be jealous a little bit. I don't think it's envy. I think it's a little bit of jealousy, which is just, it's natural. I mean, I get jealous of people that do things. I'm like, man, why couldn't that be me? You know, I'm doing the same thing. Why? But when you go out there and you are there to entertain, and you hit your first 3-pointer, and the first thing she says is there should have been a foul on the play, and then you pull up from 36 feet, that's that entertainment factor. I mean, everybody knows she's leaving the game. That's going to be, she's down to her final 30 seconds, and I'm in transition. I'm off the dribble. I'll just pull up from 36, and you're like, there's no way that just went in.
Yeah,
that just went in.
As soon as she released it, I felt like, it's going in.
And then you call the timeout, and you wave goodbye, and she kind of hinted that they'll be coming back to Carver Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's funny because I said that last week. Remember, I was like, this is the last time when she walks off that court, it'll be for the last time. And somebody right away was like, follow the money, homie.
But and then after the game, the Brazilian national team all coming up to her, getting their pick. I mean, they recognize the significance she has in their game and making it what it is.
Travis, this isn't the first time the Brazil national team has played. This isn't the last game they're going to play. Is this the only time they're going to play in front of a packed house of, what was it, 16,000 or whatever?
Right around 16,000.
Yeah. Yes, this is it.
Caitlin joked with him. She goes, was this the biggest crowd you've ever played in? They're like, yes. Yeah, by a magnitude of 15. Usually there's 100, 200 people in the gym. Yeah, we had 1,000 one time, but it turned out that a convention was happening and they gave away free tickets. But in all sincerity, as the Fever were in Iowa City, they were there to entertain the Iowa crowd. They're also there to get better. And you mentioned that Caitlin Clark did not play the night before against the Washington Mystics, a game they needed overtime to come back and beat that team without Caitlin Clark. And Coach Stephanie White, who is the right fit for the Fever, just talked about the dynamic of having Caitlin Clark on the floor for the Fever and the difference it makes for her team.
Everybody's aware of where she is on the floor. It helps her spacing, her ability to move the ball, to make the right read and the right play. She can stretch the floor, but everybody's focused on her coverage, right? And oftentimes she's going to get 2 and 3 defenders that have their eyes on her, so it's going to open up things for everybody else. And so it was nice to have that on the floor, nice to have another ball handler on the floor. I don't think we moved her off the ball as much as I would have liked to today. But again, just having her back out there and having her presence on the floor, her competitive spirit, and of course in this environment for the Iowa Hawkeye fans to be able to see her and for her to be able to enjoy another ride here in Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Well spoken and not wrong, but she had one more, and this is what I want to talk to you about, because she talked about just what this does for the game. And I've got some thoughts on this, and I'm sure you do as well. But this is Stephanie White talking about just the energy and what the atmosphere was like.
Yeah, I thought it was electric. It's what you've seen, whether it's from the outside on television or being here broadcasting, but to actually feel the energy. I mean, it is a thing when you talk about having a six man, so to speak, crowd energy. It gives you a lift. It gives you a boost. It's why we all do what we do, like to feed into these kinds of environments. And so it was a lot of fun. I think for the WNBA and the opportunities that we have to bring our game to areas where fans can engage. Like oftentimes it's difficult for fans in the summer summertime to get to a WNBA city. And we have great college basketball fan bases throughout the country that deserve an opportunity to witness these women doing what they do at the highest level. And so I love these kinds of environments and opportunities for our team, for our league, and of course to bring, special talents back home.
She's not wrong, Ross, about going to college campuses because colleges are just, the fan bases are rabid. They love their own. I will say this. Outside the Indiana Fever, I'm still not that interested in the W. Are you?
Dude, you are 1,000 times more interested than I am in the league.
Yes.
I love the story of Caitlin Clark. Travis, I don't watch the league at all. I mean, I don't watch the Fever. I go to my dad's house. I watch the games with, you know what I mean? He had folks over yesterday, but I was playing baseball. But I do that more for the family gathering than the actual watching of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It's the camaraderie that happens around it. I'm so grateful for what Caitlin Clark has done because we've had so many gatherings at my dad's house over the years. It's been awesome. It has nothing to do with the game on the TV. And I'm just not a WNBA fan. It's not great basketball to me. I'm not a huge basketball fan. So there's layers to this, right? I'm a Hawkeye basketball fan. I'm a college basketball fan. I'm an NBA fan. I'll watch the NBA.
So you asked that in the form of a question. I'm an NBA fan.
I mean, if there's a playoff game on, or if I get a text from a buddy that's like, "Holy cow, Anthony Edwards going crazy." Oh, okay. I'll flip on the T-Wolves game here real quick, see what's going on, watch it for a couple minutes. Oh, wow. The WNBA, it's starting. I'm going to tell you this. It's starting to feel like the soccer thing to me. If you like it, great. I'm kind of getting sick of being told that it's not for me. It's not for me. And that's okay. That's okay. I've got 1,000 other things happening in my life. I love the Caitlin Clark story. There's nothing sexist or misogynist about this. I don't like the WNBA.
Yeah, you're not going to watch the Dream take on the Sky.
I'm not going to watch the MLS. I barely watch the NHL. I barely watch the PGA. I've got a billion things happening in my life. The WNBA, I'm not. So you're 1,000 times more interested in the league than I am. I promise you that.
My interest is really in the Indiana Fever. It's not outside. Now, I may pay attention if I know there's a big game, but not anything outside of what Caitlin Clark is doing. And full transparency, if Caitlin Clark was not the athlete she is and the face of the league she was or is, I wouldn't be interested. I mean, Megan Gustafson didn't get me interested in the league. Asia Wilson didn't get me interested in the league. Caitlin Clark did. And it's probably going to be that younger demographic. Like ESPN had the voice of the fan yesterday, and I thought they were going to interview a bunch of adults. They didn't. They interviewed kids. And as Jay says, my 10-year-old is obsessed with the W. So that's where it's going to have to be. It's not going to be with old dudes like me.
Right.
It's going to be with the younger generation. Now, like you mentioned the family time. Dude from Iowa says, it's brought my wife into sports. Suddenly we're watching games together, and Caitlin did that.
And that's amen. My dad watches the WNBA, something I never thought I would hear. My dad will call, again, has watch parties for exhibition games. Think about that. We never got together when the Hawkeye basketball team was playing Marathon Oil. Right? This is something special, but I don't know that it goes much past Caitlin Clark, but I've underestimated this thing all along.
Yeah, I think everybody's underestimated it. I mean, from Gino Auriemma to Don Staley, who I think they like the growth, but even, when she came into the league last year, they're like, no, she's not going to perform. It's going to be a rude awakening.
Even Diana Taurasi.
Diana Taurasi.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, It's just one, and I think that's what fuels my interest with Caitlin Clark is when somebody tells you can't do something, you want to see somebody, overperform.
Who said somebody can't do something?
Like Diana Taurasi. Like, so,
okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
When she gets to the league, she's got a rude awakening coming.
I see what you're saying.
But you want that's like a challenge, and you're like, okay, let's see what this challenge turns into. But yeah, so I agree. The WNBA is smart to go to these college campuses. They've played at LSU, which I think was really smart. The Sky were down there, going to Iowa City. I think when you see the number of tickets that can be sold and the money that can be made, it's a smart move, and it's really the best way to reach out to fans. It's the old NASCAR. When NASCAR was at its height, Ross, and I think NASCAR has gone backwards since the 90s, and that is, well, they engaged with fans. They engaged with fans, and fans felt like they had a connection. And if you do that, that's the best. Look at Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift became who she was because in her early days, that's what she was doing. She was engaging with her fans, spending time doing selfies, and people were like, I know you. That's how that Swifties were born. All right, do you have your sound effects going? Because
I do. I'm ready to go here.
All right, Corey.
I mean, listen, it's about as rudimentary as we can get because this happened at literally 2:16 a.m. Corey, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Yourself?
We're about to find out, dude.
So, Corey, I like these spur-of-the-moment interviews more than just something planned because it's fun to call you when we have something to, like, oh, we got to play this for Corey. So this was Ross last night at, 2:15 in the morning?
There's a couple recordings I'm going to play for you here, Corey, okay? One of them is at 2:15, and the other one's at 2:23. So we're middle of the night. I'm awakened to the sound of some sort of animal encounter outside of my window. Okay, now listen to this.
Ross is putting his phone to the microphone just to let everybody know.
Do you hear that? Can you hear that?
Kind of.
Okay, we're going to try to get a better one here because I'm holding my phone out my window to try to get this sound. Can you get it at all? It's like
sounds like some type of weird, owl being tortured or something. I have no idea.
There were two of them. That's an owl, you think?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell for sure.
Jeez, I wish we could play it better for you so you could hear it.
Text it to me.
Well, that's a great idea. Great idea. This guy's so smart.
It's funny how you can text an audio file.
It's great, isn't it?
I'm with you, Corey. I thought it was an owl, but he thought these critters or whatever they are were on the ground.
They definitely sound like they were walking towards each other because there were two of them. They were doing the exact same call back and forth.
Huh.
And then they were getting closer and closer. Then all of a sudden they got together and it was like a party. It went.
Yeah, weird, but I don't know. You'll have to send it to me. I thought you were going to play me a video of baby raccoons because we're getting a ton of calls for those, but it didn't quite sound like that.
So imitate a baby raccoon? What does that sound like?
Sounds like a kitten purring.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we pulled 2 different litters out of people's attics last week. So that's what I thought you were going to have, but that didn't sound like baby raccoons.
It was not. This was not baby raccoons. I think it's an owl, and a lot of people are like, "Yeah, it's basically a horny owl," is what you're dealing with there. So again, I'm the idiot. It turns out, but woke me up in the middle of the night, and I could not figure out. And it went on again. For first recording was 2:16, second one was 2:23, so it went on for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, do owls come down? Obviously they fly, but do they usually come down to the ground or do they like to stay up in the tree?
Well, they like to stay up high, but I mean, they're gonna, like any other bird of prey, we're gonna dive and maybe pick up a mouse or vole or something along those lines. So
okay, well, sorry we woke
but couldn't really tell from a recording.
Sorry we bothered you this morning with owls.
I figured in your gated community you'd have surveillance cameras and get it on picture.
I try to tell Travis all the time. Those are bars on the windows, not gates on the community.
Oh, my bad.
But
Different
let's talk about the raccoons because I think I'm seeing it with the rabbits in my yard. Is this where the gestation period comes to an end with a lot of rodents, and we're going to see in this early springtime a lot of the babies, whether it's raccoons, possums, all that, and they become even more of a nuisance because they're trying to protect them, but they also start scavenging and looking for food and shelter.
Yeah, definitely. Now's the time. What we're seeing: baby squirrels, baby raccoons, baby possums, baby birds, any of that type of stuff. So yeah, your mom raccoons we probably get the most calls for those here at Bats and Bugs because they're going to try to usually have their babies inside of a home somewhere. They I don't know why they really like it inside people's attics and chimneys and stuff like that. It's just easier for them to protect them. So we get a lot of calls for those. And then we've talked about birds and dryer vents. Definitely still in the heat of that season. Birds are building nests everywhere, trying to lay their eggs and find a safe spot for that.
Now, if they have the babies in the chimney or the attic, do they eventually leave? Should we? I mean, I swear
Don't
to God,
they just
every
go
once
on
in a
their
while,
own?
Eventually they will. So, but I mean, it could be a couple of months by the time the mom gets in there before she gives birth, and then couple of weeks ahead of time, and she's going to give birth. And then, they have to get old enough that she can start, taking them out, showing them the world and whatnot. So, I mean, it's going to be a couple months before they get out of there. And, some people choose that option to wait until they're grown and leave and then deal with the mess afterwards and fix it. And other people are like, no, I can't live like that. And that's where we come in. Well, really both situations we can come in and help. So,
Trav, I heard a bat story yesterday. One of the moms on Eli's baseball team was telling me a story about how they bought some furniture on Facebook Marketplace and brought it home, and they started noticing these little bugs. And the husband was really mad. He's like, "You brought bed bugs into our house from this nasty home." And they couldn't figure out what it was. So she actually took the bug to a guy like Corey or Earl May or something and said, "Hey, what am I dealing with here?" Mm-hmm. They were bat bugs?
Yep. So bat bugs look almost identical to bed bugs. Only way to tell the difference, you have to look at them under a magnifying glass, and their hairs on their eyebrows basically are different lengths, which is a weird way to distinguish between bugs. But that's basically how you tell the difference in them. But yeah, we'll get a lot of calls for those, usually coming from a pest control company that referred us on. The customer calls thinking they have bed bugs because that's usually where everyone's mind first goes. And then the pest control company comes out and looks at it and says, "No, those aren't bed bugs; those are bat bugs."
Oh, makes me itch.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing with bat bugs, they don't act at all like bed bugs, really. Once you get rid of the bats, a lot of times the bed bug or the bat bugs go with them. Maybe do a very basic pest control treatment, but it's not like a bed bug treatment. Those are pretty in depth and whatnot. But yeah, no, they can.
Corey, we're glad we've got you on call, man. This is nice to be able to buzz a guy and ask the questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've got coons, bats, possums, Bats and Bugs is the place to go, and have them come by, treat your house, get rid of those bat bugs. You don't do bed bugs, do you? You don't do bed bugs.
I don't, but I got a bunch of partners and stuff. So if you have that issue, we can help you out. Same thing with termites. We can help you out with that too.
Ooh, termites. Ooh, hate the termites. All right, Corey. Good
Corey,
seeing
thanks
you, buddy.
a lot, buddy. Thanks for answering the bat phone this morning.
Yeah, text me that video, and I'll try to get you a better answer.
I did. I actually sent you both of those. I've texted you both of those audio clips. They're only a couple of seconds long, but listen close.
Will do. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye,
Thanks,
buddy.
Corey. Appreciate it. Corey from Bats and Bugs. If the coons get in my attic, I still get, my house was built in 1941. So up in the attic, I've got the blown asbestos.
The good stuff.
The good stuff, the stuff that really works. I don't think they last very long because I think they start gnawing on the asbestos and they get,
they get cancer and die.
Mesothelioma real quick and they just die. They just die. 515-517-2303. That's the number to call. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how bats and bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
The Royal Mile, where everyone's a wee bit British. The Royal Mile is downtown Des Moines' living room with classic pub favourites. Pair them with a glass of whiskey or an expertly poured Guinness. It's bloody brilliant. The Royal Mile, a proper British pub.
Fong's Pizza has moved to 317 East Court in the East Village and is ready for good weather with an expanded menu and a patio that is ready for pals, pints, and pizza. Fall in love all over again with the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Hi, my name's Jerry Rodriguez. I'm a Lexus technician, and I've been with Willis about 28 years. My favorite part about working at Willis has to be my coworkers, teammates, a lot of like-minded folks with the same goals in mind, and that's taking care of the customer. So we have the fishing. I enjoy fishing. We have a lot of good fishing here in the Des Moines area with various lakes.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Monday, the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo. Have some margaritas today, have some chips and salsa, have some street tacos. Get out there and celebrate. It's a party day on a Monday. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com or on the Android app, thank you for listening. If you do have an Android phone, you can download the app by searching The Rush with Travis and Ross. Very easy to find, very easy to navigate. You can also follow us along on X, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. What's that weird look for?
I had to hit a rumble strip.
Oh, you farted. Man. Gassy this morning.
Every morning. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm just got a problem.
Oh, anyway. I don't know if it's
515-517-2303.
I don't know if it's a problem. Man.
All right.
Let's go back to Saturday night because you said that Eli had a bucket list event crossed off his 14 or 15-year-old bucket list.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's like, how does a 15-year-old have a bucket list?
He's 14. Yeah, he turns 15 Wednesday, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
did you buy him that jacket or that coat when he was there?
Yeah, I did.
You're a nice dad, man. How much did that cost?
You really want to know?
I do.
Throw a guess.
I'm going to say, was it a coat or a sweatshirt?
It's a jacket. It's like a light, thin jacket.
I'm going to say the light, thin jacket said like UFC Des Moines on the back.
Had a really, I did like the design of it. Very cool. It says UFC on the one lapel, Ultimate Fighting Championship.
I'm going to say it was $175.
Wow. $125.
Okay.
Yeah.
$125 is not bad. I mean, when you go to an event and you buy a coat.
Well, and we walked in, he's like, this is the best sporting event of my life. What he said to me that put it in perspective for me was, Dad, this would be like if you were 14 and went to Yankee Stadium.
Ooh.
And
he knew how to tug on the heartstrings with you.
That was he knows how to play me, dude. Come on. Like a
Kids
fiddle.
are smart that way, aren't they?
Like a fiddle.
Just to let you know, they only get better at it. They get a lot better.
I'm in trouble because the little ones got me around her finger. So I'm in trouble. So yeah, that was we had such a great night, man. Went down. He had baseball Saturday and played late, so we missed most of the preliminary card. I think we got to see actually two of the preliminary card fights. But the thing that I really wanted to be there for was that entrance for Jeremy. I wanted to be in the arena to see that and feel that when Jeremy Stevens walked into Wells Fargo Arena, and that was something very cool. It really was, man. It was the thing that didn't get seen on the cameras and was when the fight ends up going the distance. They raise the other guy's hand, and I mean, the minute they raise the other hand, they actually let Jeremy kind of walk around and shake some hands and say some goodbyes. But they get that losing fighter out of the ring pretty quickly. They didn't get a chance to interview him. He didn't get a chance to talk to the crowd and say thank you. So his thank you happened as he was walking back to through the tunnel back to the locker room, and that was really cool, man, to see people like kind of swarm that tunnel, and everybody was trying to get a picture with him or just tell him congratulations and thank you. And it was, the end of a great career. I mean, you go out with the loss, but the guy that won his eyes are swollen shut as he's giving the interview, Jeremy was not the pioneer of MMA in Iowa. We had a lot of guys like Pat Miletich and Robbie Lawler and Josh Neer here in Des Moines. But man, Jeremy was a dude that carried that banner really well. I would say, with Josh Neer, they're the two guys from Des Moines that we could really kind of hang our hat on. And what two great guys to represent Des Moines. Two dudes that would stand in the middle of the ring and bang with anybody in the world. Anybody. They'd stand there. Jeremy Stevens talked shit to Conor McGregor at a press conference. Those guys did a great job of doing exactly that, carrying that banner for MMA in Central Iowa.
So why was it a bucket list for Eli? Because I guess, at 14, I didn't know, the UFC would be that big of a deal for a 14-year-old. I would have thought like an NBA game or a Major League Baseball game. What do you think is the 14-year-old's attraction to UFC? Was it just the atmosphere and everything? Or
so I mean, Eli's a wrestler, and so I think that's a part of it, right? That this is, because for some people, fighting's not for them. You know what I mean? They don't like the violence. They don't like, it's just not for them. Eli likes UFC. I like UFC. Travis, I have said this. I thought that this would be a big event for Wells Fargo Arena, but not like people fighting over themselves to get in the arena. Dude, this was huge. It was huge. Why is it important? Why was it that way for a 14-year-old? I think that's probably an individual thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most of Eli's
being a wrestler, I think being a wrestler, I totally forgot about that. I think that's kind of a pretty close knit community where there's a lot of wrestling aspects to UFC.
And being down there, dude, we saw a lot of people. The Dowling wrestling coaches were there. My buddy Rocky Daybolt, whose son Maximus is one of the best wrestlers in the state. I got to see a lot of, a lot of that wrestling community was there in attendance. But you know who I didn't see? A lot of star power.
I thought I was going to ask you, was Dana White there?
No.
Was any other, big time stars there?
Michael Bisping. Do you know that name at all?
I don't know that name.
He was a fighter. He's an English dude. Or he's from somewhere. He's European.
He's from somewhere. He's European.
He is. He's from parts unknown.
You've narrowed it down to a continent. Thank you so much.
He's not from America. He could be Australian. He's not Asian. He was there. That was about it. I didn't see. And then they would put up people on the big screen, and the crowd would go crazy, and I'd go, Eli, who's that? And he'd go, oh, that's the top-ranked middleweight. So they had a bunch of UFC royalty there.
Sharkus on YouTube says, disappointed in Kittle not being at the WWE on Friday night or the UFC. You got to remember, these guys have schedules, and not saying that Kittle didn't want to be there, but sometimes schedules just don't align to where you can get to an event. I mean, it's like, hey, can you be here? Well, no, I'm already booked here, here, and here.
And again, I'm not, but Des Moines is not home.
That's fair.
You're not asking the guy to come home, come back to his home state, be within a couple of hours of home. It's not, hey, man, you want to take your private jet and come fly back home for the weekend? No, do you want to take your private jet and come fly to Des Moines and drive a few hours to home and be a part of an event? I don't blame those guys at all. The one that I thought maybe like a Jason Momoa, but again, schedule. The guy's probably shooting a movie for millions of dollars somewhere in the world.
Yeah. I'm in Canada shooting a new Aquaman 4 movie.
Right. Sorry, I can't get to the WWE event.
Though we had Chris. You talked to Chris Conley on Saturday night. You got to believe, you want to believe that Des Moines did a good enough job and sold enough tickets to bring an event back.
Man, Trav, that's at least the reaction that I saw was that it looked amazing. The crowd was fantastic. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to reach out to Chris to see. I didn't hear any stories of anybody like big fights or people getting hurt or anything like that. Which I think when you get a crowd like that, that's the fear. You get a bunch of testosterone running, you get a bunch of adrenaline and aggression, and you're going to get some fist fights. And I'm sure they had some people that got walked out. But I didn't hear of any major things. And maybe I'll reach out to Chris and just kind of ask if that happened.
Yeah.
One thing I was surprised by, Trav, the UFC does not put any restrictions on like when beer sales end.
Really?
That's
like with 4 fights to go, they don't shut off.
I even asked Chris at one point. And I said, when do beer sales get shut off? Because we were just at the time we were in the transition between preliminary card and main card. And he's like, well, dude, if I did it now, there'd be a revolt. And I'm like, no. I'm not saying now. I was just wondering, does the UFC have it? And he said, no, they kind of leave it up to us. And so they had a plan in place to kind of, dial it back at a certain time. But I thought it would be like Major League Baseball or most sporting events where there's a hard cutoff time. Like, no, UFC leaves it up to individual arenas.
Chris Conley, if you're listening this morning, if you tell us how much beer you sold on Saturday, how much beer did you sell between Friday night and Saturday night? Because I guarantee you it was a lot of beer.
I'm guessing more on Saturday because wouldn't Friday night with the WWE, wouldn't you have had more? And I'm not saying it's a family crowd, but wouldn't you have had more families there?
Probably because the kiddos are more.
Yeah, a lot more minors in seats and a lot more dads being dads rather than out with their dudes.
But what does that compare to like a rodeo? What does it compare to like a monster truck rally? What does it compare to a concert? And
I'm guessing last night was more in that country music concert level of beer sales.
Do you drink any barley?
No, I had water.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not drinking much anymore. I mean, every now and again.
You were living the sweet life though too, right?
I was up in the Community Choice Suites. Yes, I was. Very lucky to be up there. then big thanks to Jeff Klein, because again, like bucket list thing for my kid.
Of course, if you want to,
and it is a wrestling thing, because I just got a text. Andy Woodley was there with Joe Woodley, and Andy's son, remember, wrestled at Iowa State. He's a big time wrestler, and he said the exact same thing. He said was there with Drew and Joey, and this was a bucket list item for Drew. Definitely a wrestler thing to connect it to the UFC.
And of course, a lot of wrestlers go on. I mean, this is their next step. I mean, it's hard to wrestle internationally. So you go, how do I make money?
The second fight, the second to last fight of the night was Bo Nickel, the wrestler from Penn State. Now he lost. It was his first UFC loss, but that was definitely a part of it. I mean, bringing him to Iowa and the wrestling connection there was and he got a great response. I would say. I
was going to ask, was he well received?
Besides Jeremy, he was the second most fan favorite, most cheered for fighter. And then Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate was on the preliminary card. She is a female fighter that's been a legend. She'll be a UFC Hall of Famer. And the crowd was cheering for Miesha too.
Are the female fights, is that weird? I've never seen a female fight live. I've been to UFC once in my life, and I was ringside, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to say appalled, but when you're that close to it, you're like, oh, this, I think I'm going to go back to watching on television, just because it was so brutal and hardcore, and you're like, why would anybody do this? And I've never seen female fights. But are they just as entertaining as the male fights?
Yes, they are. Man, just as entertaining as the male fights can be kind of a hard thing to say. But I would say they've come a long way. Like Miesha Tate's a great example of that. You know what I mean? Miesha Tate's a great example of that. When you watch her fight, you go, oh yeah, it's not, if you're anticipating the girls to go out there and go cat fight, no, man, these ladies brawl. They brawl. They want to put their fist through your snot box as soon as the bell rings. I mean, brutal is a good word for it, but man, again, different strokes for different folks. I did get a few confirmations here. Can I share some things with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Connolly said no, there were no fights amongst attendees on Saturday night. That's awesome. That's awesome. He said just a few ejections, nothing major, really good night. Sold much more beer on Saturday night for UFC, like I was anticipating. Oh my gosh, food and beverage sales on Saturday night broke the arena record for a single night event.
Wow.
When I walked in, you felt it. You walked in the arena, you're like, this place is packed.
I mean, was there a seat left in?
I mean, there were a few empty, but I mean, you get people that don't show up for whatever reason or leave. I do think that there was a small percentage of the population that was there to watch Jeremy. And then again, that fight started at 9:15 or something like that.
What time do you all get out of there?
11:30. I feel like
that's late.
Something like that.
And it started at what time? What time did the preliminary fight start?
7:00 was the first fight. Actually, okay. I think first fight might have been 6. I think doors opened at 5. First fight was at 6 or something. Yeah, I think that was what it was.
Man, that's a long time to keep people's attention. I mean, 6 to 11:30. That's a long time.
And Trav, I saw a lot of people at Baconfest at noon with a beer in their hand, having conversations with them, and then we'd be walking around at 8:00 that night, and I was, hey, saw you at Baconfest.
Wow. That's a long day, man. That is a very, very long day. Now, I got to ask the typical Ross Peterson question, and I think I know the answer because you had your son with you. You didn't pull him out early because you're notorious for leaving early.
Oh, Jesus. Do it one time.
Every time.
You know that old joke, right? About the guy makes guy's all disappointed with his reputation in the community, and he stands up in front of town. He says, I made 1,000 shoes for all the kids in the community. Do you guys call me Charlie the shoemaker? No. I made tables for every one of your families. Do you guys call me Charlie the table maker? No. But you sleep with one goat. One time I left early.
Do you want me to count all the times that you left early?
No, I don't. No. Don't count the goats.
I keep a running tab in my head.
No.
Nothing wrong with goats.
That's the wrong response.
That's the wrong response. There's nothing wrong with goats. Nothing wrong with goats. Oh, man. Yeah, but just a busy weekend for the city of Des Moines.
Great weekend.
Yeah, and the fight for the entertainment dollar. We talked about it, and I guarantee the farmers market was a great success. Baconfest, if you watch any of those videos, you sent me a video where they played "Reeling in the Years."
Yes, like one of the first songs that played when the yacht rock band started up, and it wasn't the headliner, but the first group that went up was fantastic. And the very first song they played was "Reeling in the Years" by Steely Dan.
Are you reeling in the years? Told you Steely Dan was yacht rock.
It was the first one played. I couldn't help, but I had to send Trav a video.
The Iowa baseball team was on the road this weekend, and they lost 2 of 3 to Washington. Now, they did yesterday get the win over the Huskies to at least take one game, so they avoided the sweep. They beat Washington 8-0. 3 pitchers combined for a 3-hitter for the Hawks as they pulled away, I think, starting in the 5th inning with a home run. The Hawks now 32-15 overall and 21-6 in the Big Ten Conference, still leading the Big Ten Conference, so still on top. Ross, this is, we talk about that fight for the entertainment dollar and stuff to do. Iowa's going to be playing in Des Moines this weekend against Oregon State. Now, Oregon State, a top 10 ranked team. If you like college baseball, or if you are interested in college baseball, this is a really good time to get down to Principal Park and watch a team that is most likely going to be in the NCAA tournament, is going to be, if not the top seed in the Big Ten tournament coming up in a couple weeks.
And to be clear, you are talking about Oregon State when you say a team that will be most likely be in the NCAA tournament, most likely playing in the College World Series. I mean,
well, that would be Oregon State. I think.
Yes.
And Iowa's going to be, I believe, an NCAA tournament team just based on their 32-15 record and 21-6 in the Big Ten, even if they don't win the Big Ten tournament. But I like this playing it. This is the second year in a row they've played in Des Moines, and it's the perfect time to draw some interest, because there's not a lot of interest in the state of Iowa around college baseball. And I don't know why that is. There's a number of reasons, but man, great stadium, good team, and you have a very good team playing a great team, which could help Iowa's seeds out when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
Help me with that, man. What are those reasons? I'm genuinely curious, because I'm a baseball fan. I'm a Hawkeye fan. I don't get interested in Hawkeye baseball. I mean, it's these things that happen. I'm glad they do this, but it's these things that will finally get me like, oh, we've been talking about the Hawkeye baseball. I mean, hell, we had Coach Heller on with us. Why is that in Iowa, in Omaha, right across the river, college baseball? It's the hotbed of college baseball.
Well, you're talking about the College Baseball World Series. This is going to be the 50th year in Omaha.
Wow.
So you're talking 50 years, and much like how Des Moines embraces certain things, Omaha has just kind of taken college baseball under its wing, and it's become that fan favorite. And they did it by engaging fans. They don't do it anymore, but back in the old days, you could go to like your local grocery store and buy a book of general admission tickets, and those were the hot tickets to get. I mean, if you would wait out in line, it'd be like, oh, am I going to get outfield seats? They just built it up into an event. And that's the thing. Most people that go to the College World Series, I don't think they go for the baseball. They go because it's an event. And it's that entertainment. They want to be entertained. They want to drink. They want to party outside. And over 50 years, it's just built into something that is you got to be a part of it. I think what has happened in the state of Iowa, with Iowa State not having baseball, with Northern Iowa not having baseball, and Iowa being inconsistent. Now, they've been a lot better under Coach Heller, but when you don't have success as a northern team, should we say, people are like, we'll just toss that aside. We've got football, we've got basketball, but when you're not consistently one of those best teams, the interest just isn't there.
Yeah, and I mean because Coach Heller has had success.
Yes, he has.
Relative to Iowa.
Fair point. And they got to a super regional a couple years ago, and I mean that's one spot away from the College World Series. Now, Iowa fans will travel
and honestly, and again, relative to that, it feels like a mountaintop.
It does. But I don't know the reason. There's a number of reasons. And I think proximity. I mean, for football, you get a lot of people from the western side of the state, Des Moines, central part of the state will drive over for a football game. They'll probably start driving over for basketball. Baseball is one of those. Do I want to drive to Iowa City for a baseball game?
I've never been over there.
You've never been to Dwayne Banks Field?
Nope. I mean, walked past it a million times,
yeah.
Right? Never went there have never been to Iowa for an Iowa baseball game. I think it's probably that lack of like constant big success. And Coach Heller has done a great job of building towards that. Is there a chance, Travis, that we will one day look at Coach Heller the way we look at Coach Dan McCarney?
Probably not, because it's baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. I mean,
I get what you're saying. It's just never going to reach that prominence that that college football has, and what Iowa State football means to Iowa State. Iowa baseball could. That's a good point.
Yeah, but I do believe this. Like anything, the more you start to win and the deeper you get in the season, people will jump on the bandwagon, and that's perfectly okay.
Yep.
The Big Ten tournament's in Omaha at Charles Schwab Field. I will travel well to that because there's a lot of Hawkeye fans in the Omaha area in Western Iowa, and they'll go to that. Hell, they might get more fans at the Big Ten tournament than they get at Dwayne Banks Field, just because you have new eyes. Like, oh, here's my chance to go watch. And then if they ever got to the College World Series, I think that would be awesome.
That absolutely.
They might become the fan favorites just because people like to jump on a team.
I think they would be.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that. Because that would be a huge draw.
Yeah, I mean the fan favorites are always LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and they're not because of the baseball. It's because they bring the best food up and they invite everybody to their tailgates. And they're like, "Hey, we're having a crawfish boil, okay?" And we're feeding everybody. That's what the big money does. 515-517-2303. We'll take a quick break. Come back on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Spring is here, and so are spring pests. Whether it's birds in your dryer vent, raccoons in your chimney, squirrels in your soffit, ants in your kitchen, or bats in your attic, with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions can help. Call us today at 515-218-3400 to schedule your inspection and see how Bats and Bugs can help prevent your home from becoming their home.
I'm Tyler Koenig. I'm a Chevy technician. I've worked here for almost a little over 3 years. I was a student at BMAC for Automotive Applied Science. Through school, you have to work at a shop, and Darcy offered me a job through school. Willis sponsors the community college. The variety of what we get. I mean, I work on the Corvettes, and then I also work on the trucks. Get outside. I have a motorcycle, so I ride my motorcycle. You have both the city, and then if you want to get, like, Ledges is 30 minutes away.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbock to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Got confirmation.
You got confirmation on what?
Confirmation from Corey. Definitely an owl orgy happening outside the house last night.
Owl orgy.
Yeah, he says you got some owls getting busy.
So what we basically heard was an owl climaxing.
Well, I mean, what you heard was the mating calls back and forth.
Okay.
They mimic each other until
what are they
get
really
close.
saying? Like, hey, baby, what's up?
Hey, where you at? And the other one goes, hey, where you at? Hey, where you at? Yeah, that's what they're saying. Hey, where you at?
How many licks until you get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Come on over and I'll show you. So you had the owls.
Yeah, I had a little owl first date happen last night. They got together and then they grew real excited. I heard them like warble off together. I thought there was turkeys. Like, what am I listening?
Now, have you cut your big tree down yet? Or were they up in the big tree?
No, I don't think they're coming from. I think they came from different areas. I was the rendezvous. I was the low rent rendezvous for them.
Hey, there's this house over in the Roosevelt neighborhood. Let's just meet up there. Nobody will find us. We'll have some new owls here in a couple weeks.
Why else would you go into the Drake neighborhood at 2:15 in the morning?
Buy drugs?
2 reasons.
Oh. So, yeah. So you might have some more mating owls tonight.
I will do no more recordings of them, just so you know. So get your head out of the gutter. It's a one-time shot.
Yeah, I mean, if you
the first time.
If you missed the show earlier, we had Corey from Bats and Bugs on, and Ross played owl porn for us.
Didn't know it at the time. Inadvertently played owl porn.
Not owl. Oh, speaking of mating, did you watch the Kentucky Derby over the weekend? It was hold on.
I know where you're going with this. This is insane.
Yes, this is absolutely insane. And this is where horses make their money. Now, Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby, in which was the largest TV audience for the Kentucky Derby since 1989. Largest TV audience since 1989. I graduated high school in 1989. So I was 18 years old. I'm 54 now. Largest TV audience for the Kentucky Derby since 1989.
I was still wearing rubber cleats in 1989, just to give you an idea.
An average of 17.7 million people watch. It peaked at 6 to 6:15 because that's when the race is. It peaked at 21.8 million viewers. Sovereignty outran journalism for the Kentucky Derby Championship. Now, every single horse, this is where I'm going with the mating. Every single horse in the Kentucky Derby field had a bloodline to Secretariat.
That's incredible. Do you know when Secretariat died?
I don't. Did Secretariat win the Derby in 70?
Something like that.
I think this was the 50th year of Secretariat. So,
really? That's funny.
Yeah, I think it was the 50th year. I'm not a horse racing dude, so I don't know.
Dude, I was going to say, because we looked it up yesterday, because we watched it at the game. We were kind of talking about it. We're like, hey, the Kentucky Derby's happening. So I pulled my phone up, hit it on Hulu, and we pinned it against the fence. And a couple of us stood there and watched the race go down. Did you look it up?
Well, it's Charlie put it in the chat. It said Secretariat died in 1989.
Secretariat died in 1989.
And think about it. It was the largest TV audience since 1989.
So these horses are a couple years old, every one of them. The horse died in 1989, and they all have a bloodline to it.
That's crazy.
Really incredible. And because one of the guys we were watching with, he was like, man, they froze the Secretariat sperm for that long. I said, I don't think that's necessarily that they froze the sperm for that long. Maybe they've got some of it frozen still, but the way I understood it was that they were descendants of.
Descendants of, yes. So if you were to do a 23andMe on the horse, it would have, a certain percentage of Secretariat in it. Breeding.
Really, really amazing. And Travis, even the two alternates were in the same bloodline.
Charlie said that Secretariat sired 632 horses. What a job. What a job.
I can never find it, but HBO used to have Real Sports, and they used to have Bernie Goldberg. Remember Bernie Goldberg?
Oh, yeah.
I love Bernie Goldberg. A huge horse racing guy. He did a special one time on this horse in Kentucky that had been put out to sire. That was literally, this thing was like the golden nugget, okay? And he did an entire special on how that worked, this horse is in the most beautiful Kentucky pasture you've ever seen. Literally white picket fence around it, right? And you see this trailer pulling in the distance, and here come the ladies. They're coming in to have their time with this, monster horse. Well, it's too dangerous, Travis, for them to try to put the lady with the man right away. It's too dangerous because there might not be chemistry, might not be connection, and they're paying a lot of money to make sure that the thing happens. So there's like a preliminary horse.
There's foreplay?
There's literally a horse who's really good with the ladies. Really good with the ladies. He gets them going, man. He gets them all ready. And they bring the ladies in, and they put her in the pen with that horse first. I swear to God. And he goes over and he's doing his little thing, and the girls are like, I don't know. No, stay away. And he's like, hey.
Teaser stallion. Charlie says it's a teaser stallion.
Yeah, I swear to God. And he gets the girl all ready to go, and meanwhile they're getting the guy ready to go in another room. Dude, Bernie Goldberg told this story in a way that I never forgot it. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Because, the conclusion of this thing is, what's going to happen with the horse that got brought in and the horse that's been waiting out in the beautiful pasture, right? They get the romantic ending that we're all paid for. But you got to reward the teaser stallion. Otherwise, he won't keep teasing them. He doesn't want to get them all riled up unless he gets a payoff too, right?
How do you reward the teaser stallion? Because he's like,
do you really want to know? Do you want to know?
They don't manually jerk it off, do they?
So two things have to happen. Okay, number one, once the girl gets all excited, they got to make sure that when they bring in the new horse that she doesn't react to that. So they got to lock her into a pin. Get what I'm saying?
I got you.
She's like trapped in a pen, and then they bring the other guy in, and they're like, do your thing. Well, then they take old Randy boy.
Randy.
And he basically has he's got like a insemination tool. I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know what you say. Pocket thing. And he does that, and then he's all excited. He's like, all right, bring the next one in.
When does Randy get to go, hey, when do I get the real thing?
I don't know that Randy knows what the real thing is. I don't know. I'd have to defer to horse experts on this. I will tell you, I remember, and I've tried to find that thing. It was Real Sports. It was Bernie Goldberg, but he did a lot of horse racing stuff. It's really hard to find that thing. I'm going to dig for it again today. If I find it, I'll share it and I'll send it to you because I had no idea.
That's big business. I mean, that is big. We're talking millions of dollars. Millions. Secretariat from 1975 until 1989, he was just a stud.
How many horses did one of the guys say? 600 some?
32. 632 horses he sired. And if you win one of these, and now like Sovereignty, yeah, we're going to watch it in the Preakness. And if it goes on to the Belmont, we'll watch that. But the owner of that horse is like, oh, they won $3.1 million to win the Kentucky Derby. That's how much that horse got.
That's nothing.
That's nothing compared. Oh, we got a Derby winner here with the bloodline of Secretariat. That semen is worth a lot of money.
Trav, and you say we're going to watch it run in the Preakness and the Belmont. There's absolutely no guarantee of that. I mean, look at what's happened the last several years.
Yeah.
Because they've hit the lottery. And now if you put that lottery ticket back out there for a gamble and you have a bad showing in one of those next two races, you actually can affect the long-term earnings of the horse. So there's actually a good chance that horse has run its last race. Lottery ticket.
That's exactly what it is.
Don't put it around the fire.
I think Sovereignty will run in the Preakness. It's kind of expected.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Now, if it loses the Preakness, probably not going to run the Belmont because you only have like 5 or 6 horses in the Belmont because it's just a long race and not too many horses can do that. But the Derby's the crown jewel. You got a Kentucky Derby? Here's my sex pen. Is basically what it is.
I mean, I'm sorry to put it that way, but that's what it turns into. It's all beautiful green rolling hills. You're like, oh, this is class act.
Yeah, I mean, you get
put her in the rape pen. You're like, whoa, what?
You get a suite every time. It's like, hey, you got a suite at the Hilton, the Four Seasons.
It's pay for that. I'll find this thing, and then they show this old boy, and you're like, no way. In some dirty pen.
I don't know the answer to this, but now I'm curious because it comes to my sophomoric warped brain.
Go ahead.
Is it better to breed with the horse now as opposed to later in life? Like when it's
that's a good point because they're.
Does the horse's DNA or the sperm deplete?
I don't know. Travis, wrong guy to ask.
How many times can a horse go a day? That's another thing.
Oh my God. We wonder. And why people listen to this show is what we wonder.
And are you assuming for the price to pay that you get it's a one-shot deal?
Oh, you're like literally paying per pump there's no guarantee. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. There's no FCC rules. Who's gonna send me an email? You're literally like there's no guarantee is what I'm saying. You can't come back and go, hey, my horse ain't pregnant. Can we come get another shot? They say, yeah, for another $1 million.
Wow. Damn. Look at her and go, you better get knocked up here. You better get knocked up.
I think there's a lot of there's a lot of like praying. Listen, girl, we're going to go on a road trip tomorrow. You're going to meet 2 horses.
One's going to get you all liquored up. Second one's going to knock you up.
Dirty Jobs did Mike says that Mike Rowe did Matt, I'm sorry, wrote in and said Dirty Jobs did a show on this.
I don't know.
Again, I know what the dirtiest part of the job is.
Who wants to clean up? Clean up on aisle 5. Clean up on aisle 5. I'm not cleaning that up. Ray says Secretariat was $6 million in 1979.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Ray?
So I'm assuming if you wanted to breed
Holy cow.
With Secretariat in 1979, it cost you $6 million.
Wow.
That horse is just getting used. Just getting used.
Now, hold on. This is what AI said. Secretariat was syndicated for a record-breaking $6 million. What does that mean? On the condition that he be retired from racing. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I just read words that I know what they mean, but in a sequence
means
that I don't makes it that I can't understand it.
When we think of radio syndication, we're like, oh, you're going nationwide. So is horse syndication like
you're on the market?
You're on the market.
We're going to try another.
He sired 632. Probably threw some blanks on some other ones. That's impressive.
I'm learning. I don't want to know. I'm Googling stuff I don't want to know.
No, you do want to know.
I don't. I don't want to know. You trust me, I can read you a headline that's going to not make you want to know.
Okay, what's the headline? Let me be the judge of that.
Okay, I Googled how much was Secretariat, and it popped in worth, and that's how I got that $6 million number. I made the mistake of putting how much was Secretariat's sperm worth. And the first article that popped up is titled "The World's Most Expensive Liquid."
We're calling it liquid now?
I'm closing that tab. What's your Monday look like?
If you only knew what your browser is going to look like later when you turn it on.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's all this horse porn? What is all this horse porn? Audrey's going to come home. Dad!
No. I did watch the Derby. I did watch the race, and the track looked like Knoxville. You know how like Knoxville on Saturday night, before they go to run the feature, the track at Knoxville looks like glass. It's so, yeah. And dude, they did that overhead view of the track, and it looked like glass. I was like, oh, it looks like a pond. Then when they started running, I guess you realize that the track is built for that. But
see, I always like it when they run in the mud because you always get the jockeys pulling they've got the layers of.
Do they have tear-offs?
Yes, I believe so.
Really?
Yeah. Tear it on off. Mud gets in their eyes, tear off. Mud gets in their eyes, tear off.
Oh, I know they have those for dirt track racing. We were joking about this. We were joking about that while we were watching the race. My buddy Jason was like, wonder if they're using the tear-offs. And we laughed. But I think you'd probably have to. Otherwise, you'd just be...
Yeah. I thought you knew that. They expect a news conference at the White House today, Ross, as the NFL draft is expected to come to Washington, D.C. in 2027. So this is going to become politicized because they're going to have a news conference at the White House and the announcement at the White House. The plan is to have the 2027 NFL draft on the National Mall, which will be super cool. And the reason these things have become as big as they are, it's because it's a moneymaker for the National Football League. Green Bay brought in 600,000 people this last year. 600,000 people. You put this on the National Mall with the Washington Monument in the background, they may try to hit 1 million people for 2027. I mean, that's just an incredible number. But it become politicized because, and it shouldn't be, but Roger Goodell will probably be with President Trump, and it'll just be, oh, I can't believe you stood up there with that guy. And it's going to be a bunch of things. It's good for the city.
Can't believe you stood up there. Can't believe you didn't stand up there. Can't believe that guy did show up. Can't believe that guy didn't show up. Can't believe you stood on the stage for this player and not for that player. This means that.
President Trump was the commencement speaker at the University of Alabama this past weekend. He met
how'd
with
that go?
Nick Saban, and now he's considering an executive order for transparent. There was very limited details on it, but he's considering an executive order on NIL payments. The last thing I want is the government to get involved with NIL. It's the last thing I want. I mean, the NCAA has screwed this up for a number of years. What makes you think the United States government is going to do anything better with it? I'm not convinced.
I am convinced it will get worse. The government will only screw it up. Travis, everything you just said there is like frustrating. Honestly, they should not. I get that Washington, D.C. is a municipality like everybody else, and they should be able to fight for those tourism dollars just like every other community. And you are, by the way, not just any other municipality, they've got an NFL team.
It's in a $4 billion stadium in the next couple of years.
So that makes sense. And man, think when you say that, Travis, they brought in 600,000 people. So put any number you want on it. How much? What's the average dollar figure that each one of those people spent in Green Bay on hotels, Ubers, restaurants?
A couple thousand each.
Even if you put it at like $1,000, think of the economic impact that is, dude. That's like 60 million. Am I doing that math right? I think that's $60 million, maybe more.
Well, thank God for a calculator on a phone.
Yeah, 600,000 times 1,000 would be 600 million. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's over $500 million to your community for a weekend. Yeah, every town gets the right to fight for that. But man, you change it all when it's Washington, D.C. This is gonna be. Will it be politicized? Come on.
100% of be
every part of it will be politicized, and it will only be amplified. Honestly, when you said 2027, the first thing I did in my head was like the math of like, oh, Trump will still be president. Not that I'm disappointed that Trump's president. Disappointed because that means all of this will be turned up to 11. The reaction to it will be
13.
yeah, right. Yuck. Luckily, though, like Tyler says, luckily we've got a unifying figure like the NFL commissioner. Oh, yeah. Tyler says, you mean the same commissioner that gets booed?
Which is true.
Every year he walks out there. Rah!
But now that's just become a thing, right?
Yeah,
that's become a thing. NBA playoffs last night. Tyrese Haliburton, again, the most overrated player in the NBA, according to an anonymous poll by The Athletic, does underrated things. 22 points, 13 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks, as Indiana upsets Cleveland in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. This was a huge upset, 121-112. Haliburton coming up with big defensive stops late, hit the three-pointer that put Indiana up for good, and you look at Indiana right now. We talked a lot about Caitlin Clark in hour number 1. Indianapolis is like on fire basketball-wise with the Pacers and the Fever.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that as from citywide.
Yeah.
I was just Haliburton, man. Like we talked about last week, he's just money. He is, and as the lights get brighter, it seems like he does better. As more eyeballs shine on him, he continues to kind of deliver and show up in these big moments. That was a fun performance. Hope to continue to see it because I think that the dad thing added some pressure. And
I would agree with you.
Great to see him respond to it like that. I mean, first of all, you got to shut up some of the haters because you're going to go into some raucous environments now that are going to be very personalized, and this is one of the ways to just block it out and play great. Big Haliburton fan, like that.
Yeah, And all he does is he's consistent. That's what kind of shocked me about that athletic poll. It's like, man, the guy's consistent. Why would you call it? The last thing you want to call somebody overrated is somebody who's not consistent, because Tyrese Haliburton has been just consistently good really since he got in the league.
I think that's a personality thing. He is a dynamic dude.
True.
And I think that, I don't know. That's a really hard one to pinpoint, how he gets labeled that way, because I don't see that at all. But we are also close to it, and we're seeing it through that Central Iowa Cyclone filter. Hawkeye fans are like, what the hell are you talking about? I hate the guy because he was a Cyclone. No, well, Cyclone fans love him because he was a Cyclone, and a lot of people in Central Iowa just feel a little connection, so you've got it's easier to root for the guy. But man, he puts up.
Night in and night out, just puts up.
Yeah, maybe it's just because he hasn't done it for long enough for NBA. But man, the league, it's not a veterans league.
No,
I don't know. Don't get that one.
One other thing, the Kansas City Royals, dead last in Major League Baseball in home runs as a team, broke out of their slump yesterday. Hit 7 home runs in the game against the Baltimore Orioles, winning 11-7. 7 home runs.
And Trav, did I see? I thought I saw somewhere. I'll see if I can find this again. That there was another kind of oddity with that stat. Were there 10 solo home runs in that game?
I didn't see that.
I swear I saw. I'm looking through my histories now to see what because I had this article up and I've lost it now, Trav. I apologize, buddy. I think that.
So with the Royals and Orioles combined, there were 10 solo home runs.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to go look for that right now to make sure. But I apologize that I lost that, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But the Royals did get the win yesterday, hitting 7 home runs. You got big plans for Cinco de Mayo?
Oh yeah, dude. Like opening day, I forgot it was Cinco de Mayo till you started the show and said Happy Cinco de Mayo. I was like, oh yeah, it is May 5th.
Everybody party hard today. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. And thank you so much for listening to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Hey everybody, this is Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Willis Infinity. A couple of great things going on this month. We got tons of inventory, and on top of that right now, we have 1.99 out to 60 months on the new QX60 and up to $2,500 in cash on here. Also this month, we are still doing the 2.9% up to 60 on new QX80s, the 3000 in Conquest. For more information, visit your favorite Infinity sales consultant on our showroom or online at willisinfinity.com.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Spring cleaning continues. Come down to Land Rover Des Moines to get your front and rear differential fluid services done for $199.95 each. Preventative maintenance is important to ensure your vehicle runs smoothly down the road. To schedule, give us a call or head online at LandRoverDesMoines.com.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.